right, looks like we are live. Thanks, you guys, for joining in with me here today. We are talking about truck driver training as well as orientation here with Decker and what that takes, or what that involves, I guess I should say, what it's all about. So, welcome. Make sure you can hear me. That would be a great start to today. So hello and good morning. Hello. Amy, I included your pictures in here. You'll see some pictures from Amy that are absolutely adorable. And you can see her. A couple of little babies that are tucked away over a log there. Pretty cute. Wouldn't want to be near them, but they sure are cute from a distance. Hey Wally, Frog's here. Ian is here. Welcome. All right, so today, this is our Q&A for those of you who you can't hear me. Are you messing with me? You're messing with me. Shows my volume. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Plus, Anna said welcome, which is what I said. Please tell me you can hear me. All right. You're such a turd. Okay, there they are. Aren't those cute? Amy sent those to me in her backyard, basically. So cute. All right. So, hey, Josh. Hope everything's going well for you. Hope so. Today is our Q&A. We do this every Tuesday at noon Central here on our YouTube channel. And we go live every Monday. I had to think about that. Every Monday at 4 p.m. Central on our Facebook channel. So either way, please, you guys, join us for those. It's an opportunity for you to ask your questions, get them answered, keep up to date on what's going on here at Decker, and then, of course, let you know any additional policies and all the details. So that's what we're here all about. If you're wondering what we have available in your area, please go ahead and put your zip code or your city and your state. Either one will work, and we'll figure out what we have available in your area, and hopefully we can help you out. Give you the details on the job specifics, as well as pay, out time, running lanes, division, all of that good stuff. Benefits, got a lot of them, lots of incentives as well, whether it's monthly bonuses, quarterly bonus payout, the sign-on bonus, referral bonuses, the weekly guaranteed pay, or any of the other monthly driver of the month, driver of the year, and of course your day-to-day pay and amenities that are in the truck. Frog says Alaska and North Dakota. Both locations aren't quite so good for us. North Dakota, if you live in the Sioux Falls area, you'd be fine. Alaska, not so much. Amy says, what's in Missoula? I'm still here until my appointment. The Kids Fun Zone. What's that called? That'll keep you busy. What is that called? The hub. That's what it is. So, yeah, and if it's a nice day, you can go downtown and go to the carousel. It is Tuesday, though, so you don't have a whole lot going on down in downtown Missoula today. Well, welcome to our Q&A. We're going to focus on recruiting and truck driver orientation. Just kind of give you an idea for what it takes or what is involved in the recruiting process, as well as our truck driver orientation. Sorry, I just got a message popping up wondering what our hiring requirements are and if we have any. So yes, we do have hiring requirements. I'm just going to make sure that they are well aware of it. There we go. Cool. So the orientation. Let's answer that question, since that's a question I get asked often. So we'll start with that. Hey, Michael. Michael's in here. Michael Watts is in the building, he says. Awesome. So the requirements to be recruited, to be able to qualify for the position, are a clean driving record. So no major moving violations. And some of those, just to throw out a few to give you an idea, are following too close, using a handheld device or not using a hands-free device, or driving without a Class A CDL, a 15 over ticket, a speeding ticket, a reckless, a careless, a What else? What are some other ones? Did I say following too close, erratic, or improper lane change? Those are all major moving violations that we would have to wait a full year, or excuse me, a full 3 years before you would qualify for the position. So 3 years is the requirement on any major moving violations. Once that's outside of the 3-year period and you have met our minimum requirements, which is at least 5 to 6 months of tractor trailer experience if you're looking for our dry van or our refrigerated divisions. Or for our flatbed, you have to have a minimum of 9 months of flatbed experience. So if you have 9 months of experience total, but only 4 or 3 months of flatbed, you do need to get the full 9 months of experience before we can move forward. That being said, you've got a couple of years of driving and you're just shy of that 9 months, make sure that you reach out to us. And by the way, this telephone number that you're looking at right now, the 888-668-0698, that's the best way to reach any of our recruiting department. Reach out to them, ask them the questions. Feel free to get a little bit more detail on there. So let me just run over to the chat here and make sure I'm answering these questions as they come in. Wally says, Twin Falls, Idaho. Twin Falls, we have our over-the-road refrigerated division that's based out of Missoula, Montana. It runs coast to coast. So yes, we can hire out of the Twin Falls area. You're probably looking at the 2 to 3 weeks out at a time, which means about 3 to 4 days home on your home time. We figure for every 7 days out, you get a day and a half home time. So with the Twin Falls area, you'd be bringing the truck home with you on your home time. You'd be running coast to coast, even though most of it's going to be west of the Mississippi. Average length of haul is well over 1,100. Equipment-wise, you're looking at our 579 Peterbilts, our 730 or 760 Volvos, or our Freightliner Cascadia Evolutions. Odds are, with the number of with the number of Peterbilts that we have, refrigerators too, they're in all of them, you're probably looking at getting a Peterbilt because we have that many more compared to about any of our other trucks that we have. But they have all the amenities: microwaves, refrigerators, bunk heaters, APU, inverter, television with satellite TV. It's company paid. Programming's 100 plus channels. Yes, it includes the Sunday ticket. You can get local channels on there as well. You just have to scan once you get parked for the day or night. We have CB units in all the trucks. We have our smart drive system, which has inward and outward facing event recorders, the lane departure device, the speed gauge, and the following distance device as well. We have Pre-Pass, Easy-Pass, K-Pass. We have the Geo-Tab units for your ELD and navigation, as well as your communication to your driver manager. So, that's all of it. No, we have quite a bit for amenities. So if you have a question on whether or not we have an amenity, please put it in the chat or call our recruiters and we'll give you more details to get you that information. Wally, you do not see a cat in the background. Not unless it's one of the videos or on the video here. Amy says, Frog, there's a set of mountain lion cubs. Same set from the winter before. It is the same set? Oh, I thought maybe they were new. Orientation. So Michael asked, how long orientation? Great question, because this is actually something that we have recently changed. So let's kind of dive in. Like Amy said, it's normally a week-long orientation, but since we've recently made these changes, we're kind of shimmering down a little bit. We do quite a bit of the orientation online now. So it's moved from a week-long orientation down to about 2.5 days. Now there are some exceptions, specifically in the flatbed division, if you need additional training for the securement. And remember, we do require that you have flatbed experience. But if you haven't worked with, say, coils or sheetrock, and you've done securing and tarping before, but you haven't worked with some of those specific loads, and we do a lot of them, then we're going to want to make sure that you go through the securement training. You'll go through the program, just kind of the orientation itself, the 2.5 days, and I'll go into detail what that entails. And then after that, if you test out, like so you go through the securement training and then you demonstrate and show that you have a great understanding of tarping and securing and you can handle it, then you won't have to continue on with the additional securement training. However, if you do need it, then you figure an extra day or so for orientation, and yes, we'll pay you for that. So orientation is 2.5 days. We pay you $500 for completing orientation, which is paid to you on your dispatch with a comm check. But and in everything else, if you finish your DOT physical and your drug and alcohol urinalysis and the online orientation prior to coming to orientation on Monday or even Wednesday, because we offer both opportunities for you, then you get an extra $100 as a bonus on your $500 comm check that you'll be getting once you're dispatched out. But remember, the 3 criteria that you need to complete prior to coming to the physical orientation in Fort Dodge is having a completed physical, a completed urinalysis, and of course your online orientation. So there you go. Wally says, Frog says, but what if I like to do that flatbed? Awesome. Flatbed is a good option, but you need to make sure that you qualify for the securement training and everything, right? That's how it works. You're thinking about moving to Twin Falls, huh? Yep, pretty area. So absolutely, definitely doable in that division. Just get with Peggy. Let her know. As long as you're communicating with your DM, then you're good to go. Same ones? She says, yep. This is in addition to the orientation pay. Yes, the $100 is. And Wally says, what if you want to get into the flatbed through our company? How do you do that? How do you do that now? Well, if that's something that you're wanting to do, I can't say for sure that it's going to be an opportunity for you because it's based off of where you live. It is going to be based off of your knowledge of flatbed and getting with Darren, who will then have you work with Tanner for additional training, if that's an option. But it's going to be more of a case-by-case basis on available out of your locations, as well as your overall understanding of flatbed. So say if you've had flatbed experience in the past, but it's been, say, 10 years since you've done it, then doing the securement training would be, yes, most definitely an option. If you haven't, then you're definitely going to need to talk to Darren, and he would be able to do an assessment between him and Tanner to determine if we can offer that opportunity for you. So great question. Frog says, what if you want to get into, I already asked that one. All right, cool. Then I am up to date on the chat. So back to the orientation. Like I said, it's about 2.5 days. We have that online everything first. But before you even get to that step, we want to make sure that you qualify. I talked about what some of the qualifying or disqualifying tickets are. And now let's talk about accidents. If you have a DOT recordable accident within the last 3 years and you were at fault, so it's considered a preventable accident, then it has to be at least 3 years old. So that's yet another one. So disqualifying factors are major moving violations and DOT recordable preventable accidents. Now, say you have a ticket, or maybe 2, in the last couple of years, but they're minor tickets. Maybe they're a speeding ticket, like a 5 over speeding ticket, or a way ticket, or wrong lane ticket, something like that. Something that didn't realize I had everything on. Somebody does. So what if you have a ticket like that? Well, you can have a maximum of 2 tickets in the last 12 months, or you can have 3 in the last 3 years, but no more than that. I was sure I had turned this down, so I apologize, you guys. Okay, so you can have no more than that. Same with the incidents. If you have 2 minor incidents in the last 3 years, say a backing incident or a right turn incident, something that's minor, that's not DOT recordable, then you can have 2 of those in the last 12 months. You can't have 3, but you can have 3 in the last 3 years. So minor incidents. Another minor incident is if your previous company reported that you had, what's an example of that? If your previous company had reported running over landscaping, like when you come into a shipper or receiver and you drove on their lawn, sometimes they report that as an incident. And if that's the case, then you will be, you would have to have no more than 3 in the last 3 years. Amy says, what's a ticket? I've never had a speeding ticket. I had one due to an accident from others hitting me. Ooh. Yeah, see, there you go. Now, then, that was probably a DOT recordable accident. A DOT recordable accident is going to be based off of where you ticketed, if you weren't ticketed, but if somebody was injured or fatality or just the cost in general was excessive, those are all things that would deem it a DOT recordable. Now, preventable is, again, if you were ticketed, it would be showing as a preventable. And not all preventable accidents are you ticketed for. Sometimes it's based off of or deemed off of the insurance's guideline. So their view, I should say. So that's the qualifying for that. Any felonies, misdemeanors, at least 5 years old, no DUIs, DWIs, anything like that within the last 3 years. If it's in a personal vehicle, if it's in a commercial vehicle, it has to be at the very least, 5 years old. And remember, your experience needs to be recent. So if you had a DUI or DWI or something or reckless or careless that took you off the road for a time period, you do still have to have recent experience. So in the last 3 years, at least 9 months or a year, depending on where, how far back it is. And it all depends on how much experience you have in total. So if you have a year of experience, but you've been off for 3, you're going to need to get additional experience. If you have 10 years of experience and you've been off for 3, then we could probably do some sort of refresher training for you to get you started, as long as you've continued to maintain your CDL. All right. All right, so what else do we have for qualifications? Must be at least 21 years of age. And of course, location is super important. So being in the right location is definitely going to matter for us based off of what we have in the divisions or which divisions we have in your area and availability. What kind of home time we can offer. We're not going to be able to hire somebody out of the El Paso area when we don't have a lot of freight that goes into there and you're expecting to get home on a weekly basis. That's not going to happen. We wouldn't be able to do that. Same if you live up in New York and you're looking to get home every 2 to 3 weeks. Not likely to happen. We don't have those opportunities because we don't get up there often enough to guarantee you freight. Now, if you're in the Midwest, in many areas in the Midwest, if you live in Kansas City or Chicago area or Omaha, pretty much anywhere from along I-80 or along I-90 between Minneapolis and Chicago, I-80 from Omaha to Chicago, the Milwaukee area, we have lots of home weekly options. If you're looking for home weekly and you live in the Southeast, Northern Alabama, Northern Georgia, definitely home weekly options. That's more so in the flatbed and refrigerated divisions. And then if you're Charlotte, North Carolina, home weekly option. If you live in the West and you're looking to get home as much as possible, we have a 7 to 10 day out period if you live in the Kennewick, the Tri-Cities, so Kennewick, Pasco, Richland area, or Missoula, Montana. Those are all areas that we can get you home about every 7 to 10 days. So you figure about a 34 to 48 hours off. So yeah, we do definitely have available positions, but make sure that you're checking with either us here on the live or checking with the recruiter at that telephone number here, 888-668-0698, in order to find out, hey, what do I have for options? How do I get in with Decker? And if you're talking to one of our drivers, we have a great referral bonus, so please check that out. Give them the opportunity to hire you on if you've got great experience. If you're anything like them, where they run well, they manage their time well, they're accident-free, ticket-free, we're pretty darn proud of our professional drivers. They do a phenomenal job, and they have helped to make this country run especially over this pandemic that we've been dealing with for the last year plus. All right, so talking a little bit more about, before I dive in more into the recruiting, this week here at Decker, we are recognizing our recruiting and orientation and training department for an appreciation week, which was brought on actually by our drivers during our driver appreciation week. They wanted to make sure that everybody had a little bit of time where we recognize them and sang their praises. So on behalf of Ken Cromwell, our COO, he says, my kudos go out to the entire team. These are the folks who introduce, welcome, and educate our newest team members here at DTL, our professional drivers. Keep up the great work, and remember that your individual efforts add up to the success. Teamwork makes the dream work. So again, thank you, Ken, for that. Let me give you an idea. So Anna, you see Anna in the background there. She's running with the comments, keeping those links coming. So if you were wondering what we have available and a little bit of info on the positions that we have, policies and whatnot, she's in the background there working on it. That's Anna. She's one of our recruiters. We have Elaine. Now, a lot of you guys know Elaine through the orientation department. And man, I hear a lot of praises on behalf of Elaine. Elaine is definitely someone that you can come to, rely on later on, come back and say, hey, I need a little bit extra training for this, or do you know where I get paperwork for this, or how do I contact safety? Whatever the case is, Elaine is a great go-to. Not only is she in our orientation and training department, but she's driven for us as well, and she's done very well in both cases. Lindsay is one of our processors. She really helps us through getting all of the paperwork and recruiting, and does a fantastic job of making sure that everything is in order. She is one of those couple behind the scenes that you do not realize how much work she does to make sure that we can help you out and get you in for orientation, get you driving and making a little bit of money. So Bryce Bertrand, how many of you guys know Bryce? Bryce is one of our recruiters. He's been here for a while. He's also in the accounting department several years ago. But Bryce is, again, one of our recruiters in the Fort Dodge office. So he does a great job. We'll definitely hear you out, come down to your level and talk to you, or come up to your level and talk to you on what it is that you have questions on or concerns with. So he's really great at getting to know an individual and making sure that we're fitting you with the right position, the one that's right for you and what you're looking for. And Darren, a lot of you guys know Darren. It was his birthday yesterday. If you missed out, make sure you go wish him a happy birthday. But Darren is one of our driver liaisons out of the Fort Dodge office. And he not only drove for many years before coming to Decker, he drove for us as well. Still drives for us on the weekends and stuff like that. But Darren helps, basically he's your advocate when you're away from the terminal. So he's speaking on behalf of you, helping to navigate through any questions that you might have. And so he's there. He and Jason Sorlene out of Missoula, Montana, also does a wonderful job like that. Gerard Smith out of Bessemer, Alabama as well. They do a great job of supporting our professional drivers. Jason is, like I said, in the Missoula office, and he's a man of many hats. Whether you're trying to get into the Decker store to get some of those trinkets or shirts or hats or whatever it is, to just needing someone to bounce a few ideas off, to help you manage your clock a little bit easier so that you have a better understanding of it, to teach you and help you along with the geotab unit, or anything else, working with your driver manager. Jason's a great liaison for that. He's definitely one of my go-to people. Clarissa is also a recruiter in Fort Dodge office, does a phenomenal job of taking care of her drivers, making sure that her professional drivers are well prepared for the position that they're coming aboard for, and they know the information, and if their questions are coming about, she's quickly there to answer them. Now, Melissa Evans, for those of you who don't know Melissa's been in the recruiting department for several years. She went from, 4 years, I believe, for Melissa? So she went into recruiting and did processing and everything. She took care of the trucks and the truck assignments. She's back in the recruiting and manning processing and making sure that goes really smooth, and really went from full. We used to print off a lot of paper for for our recruiting department, just going through applications and everything. She's really streamlined it, got us to the paperless pretty much. So pretty impressive. Amy says, I swear at times he lives at the office. He's always putting in some crazy work. Yes, that's Jason she's talking about, and I don't think she's that far off. He does a great job, and he's somebody you can rely on. Myself, I'm in the recruiting department as well as one of our recruiters. I do the online recruiting as well, so social media, to answer your questions if you need anything. Of course, we've got Erin. Erin is remote as well. She does a phenomenal job of taking care of her drivers and making sure that she's guiding you to the next step, getting you scheduled for orientation, walking you through what that process looks like, lining up your drug and alcohol tests as well as your physical, making sure that whether or not your physical qualifies you for that. Dave Chapman, a lot of you guys know Dave Chapman because he is the director of orientation and training. And he's guiding everything. He's over Elaine and Tanner as they get through to the next step. Speaking of a man that's there for so long, for so many hours, and someone you can rely on, it's definitely him. Now, Chris, she is one of our processors as well. Very good at what she does. Her follow through and her precision on her day-to-day tasks and keeping me in line and making sure that I am on task as well. She does a phenomenal job of that. Beyond, both her and Lindsay do a great job of covering gaps when we need it, when we need a little bit of extra help here and there. They do a phenomenal job of that as well. Mitch Dooley is also one of our recruiters out of the Fort Dodge terminal. He does a wonderful job of just talking to our drivers, hearing you out, making sure that you know about the orientation, getting to know you. Just a great friend. Great, you've got to hear his laugh. I'm not kidding you. If you are in a bad mood, just talking to Mitch will put you in a good mood. Just that laugh is contagious and just a wonderful thing to be around. I can't help it just makes me smile, and so I appreciate him every day. Tanner, a lot of you guys are familiar with Tanner, especially if you've done flatbed. If you've seen any of our flatbed securement videos, he has volunteered for those, and I appreciate him in all his aspects. So he's encouraging, great personality, loves to tease you, right there for you. Katie is more of our concierge for our professional drivers that are coming to Decker. So you'll see her in the orientation room. She's your go-to for any questions while you're transitioning from orientation to getting into the truck and driving down the road. So she's kind of your handoff, I guess. I don't know. She's really your go-to there. So she's going to be there to help you out, help answer any questions and make it a smooth transition for you. She is a ball of fire, a lot of fun to be around. She absolutely enjoys her job, and she's a workaholic as well. So we appreciate everything that Katie has to do. Now, Perry Nelson, also a go-to for that geotab if you have questions on it. He and Ashley do a fantastic job. Ashley Pedersen, safety, do a fantastic job of answering those questions. Perry helps in a lot of different aspects in the orientation and training and getting you to the next level. And he's also been a driver, so he knows he knows the process. He knows what is expected of one of our professional drivers and what it takes to get you to that level. So, and Tanya, a lot of you guys know Tanya. You can also check her out on her Instagram. She is there to answer questions. She also helps with the social media with the Instagram. She enjoys that. Creative and fun, and just loves to get to know all of her professional drivers just on a one-on-one basis. And so if you haven't seen Tanya, I'm sure you will, to just get to know you. Might have you take a snapshot so she can post it to her Instagram that, hey, look who's starting at Decker. Awesome deal. And then I left the best for last. Abby Reed is our director of recruiting. We are very thankful for everything that she does for us. Leading us. She is the leader of the pack for the rest of us and keeps us motivated, encouraged, and appreciating what we get to do on a daily basis. Speaking of appreciating what we do on a daily basis, we received a video, and you probably see it on our Facebook here sometime this week as they're being posted. But Dustin Thompson, the video that you shared with us was absolutely just heart-wrenching. Speaking of one of our recruiters, Bryce Bertrand, how they've become friends and just colleagues with over and beyond. They've been able to rely on each other. They help each other out, answering questions, asking, and it's nice to know that, be reminded, this is why we do what we do. Just like when you are out on the road and you recognize something that just warms your heart and reminds you, this is why I love driving. He did the same for us as we watched that video today. So thank you, Dustin, for that awesome video. Totally appreciated that. Anna says, we have a super team working behind the scenes to keep things running smoothly. Not to mention what a good-looking bunch we are. Yeah, we do have a big... I don't think everybody realizes the group of people it takes in order to make things work smoothly for all of our professional drivers. So we have, about 700 professional drivers here at Decker, and they do a phenomenal job of on-time delivery. We have some of the best percentages for on-time delivery and safety and equipment and just taking care of everything within the nation and across the U.S. And so for those of you who are new to learning about Decker, this really gives you an insight of what it takes to make sure that we're supporting our professional drivers on a daily basis. Now, I've only really been talking about our recruiting department and our orientation and training departments. But there's so much more. We have our payroll, and we have our safety, and we have our driver managers, all of operations, our night ops, our maintenance support and shop. I mean, it is a full-on huge backup. Our drivers are up here and we are praising them and they are doing all of that hard work, but they have a massive pyramid of support underneath them, supporting them to keep them going on a daily basis. So please don't forget what it takes in order to make a company like Decker work. So enough of that said, what we'll be talking about, let's dive back into the orientation process and what that has to do. So once you're qualified for orientation and you've met all of our qualifications, we're going to start getting you scheduled for orientation itself. Now remember, I said that we have an online orientation available to you, and it's going to take everybody a little bit different timing, whether it's 3 hours or whatever. I mean, the time period is just going to be based off of you as an individual. Yes, you can do it on your phone, you can do it on your computer, you can do it on a laptop. It is available to you online. So however you access online, that's how you can do it. Once you are approved for orientation, which can be within moments of receiving your application, depending on how many jobs you've had, what your work history looks like overall, good work history, or maybe questionable, we want to make sure that we get all those verifications as much as we can ahead of time. Once that's taken care of, we take the next step to do the online orientation. So we are scheduling it or sending out, assigning, however you want to word that, but basically sending you the link to the online application so you can complete that prior to the orientation, which starts on either Monday or Wednesday, depending on your convenience level. So much easier to do these shorter online or these shorter in-person orientations in Fort Dodge than it used to be, because we used to have to wait for the drug tests and the physical, because you can't be dispatched out until we've received that drug test or physical back. Well, if you get that done ahead of time, then it's going to be a lot smoother process for you. So let's talk about the physical. If you have a recent physical that is at least it's good for at least 6 months in total, and you just got it maybe 2 weeks ago, it's good for another 6 months, and then we can use that one. You'll just need to send over the long form. We'll have them sign off, our HR sign off, use that as your physical. Now, if your physical is over 6 months old, or if it isn't good for another 6 months, then you wouldn't qualify with that physical. We're going to need to schedule you a new physical in that case. So we'll arrange for a physical to be taken care of. We'll find a place that, usually a Concentra, we'll find a place that works with your location, and as well as your drug test to do your urinalysis. So we'll assign those. Now, if your physical gets approved, then we will go ahead and just schedule your urinalysis when you are wherever you're at, whether it's home or you're on the road, and we're trying to make those arrangements. We're trying to be as flexible as possible to make it work well for you. And then the online orientation you can finish throughout. So say you get approved on Tuesday, you don't want to start until Monday, the following Monday, then you have all of that time period to finish your online orientation. So your online orientation is going to be a series of videos followed by a couple of questions. It's not super, it's not like you have to have these horrendous questions that nobody's going to be answered. They're real basic. A lot of the online is very basic DOT information that it's a review of. For most of you, it's going to be a review of because you do have the experience. You had to know it to get your CDL. And a reminder of some of our company policies and procedures. You'll have a few forms that you need to sign out to sign before coming aboard. There we go. And yes, you can sign it online. These forms, getting this done, helps to move the process along for you quite a bit. So let's, I just want to make sure that I'm not missing any questions. Okay, so some of those forms that you're looking at are the 401k, the beneficiary form. Now, for those of you who don't remember, we have a 401k that we pay into. 6 years is vested, but you get 30%. So whatever you put in, you get 30% of, up to 8% of your total earnings. So if you put in, if you put in, 5, 6, 7, 8% of your weekly earnings, then we're going to match 30% of that. So the 401k beneficiary information, make sure that you have the social, the full name, date of birth of the individual that you are putting as your beneficiary. We're going to be assigning property and payroll deductions. So where where you want your payroll, anything there, you're going to have those documents. The certification of violations. So if you have any tickets or moving violations, you have to fill that out. Your clearinghouse. If you're not familiar, a year ago, this last January, we had, was the first of the clearinghouse. So this is the drug and alcohol clearinghouse that all DOT drivers, as well as DOT companies, trucking companies, are required to register to, and so that they can keep the drug and alcohol results in basically that vault, in that clearinghouse. So you'll have to have that consent. It's usually done when you do your online orientation and stuff as well, or online application. But we have the clearinghouse consent to make sure that you've taken care of that as well. Confirmation for the drug and alcohol. Again, that's prior to we will have you do the drug and alcohol test, your analysis before you come to orientation. Now, that being said, before I go into more of some of those forms, we do have the hair follicle and in orientation itself. So the hair follicle, as well as the PCE. So PCE is like range of motion and resistance. Those two tests will be in Fort Dodge when you come in for your physical orientation. So it'll be first thing Monday or first thing Wednesday, depending on when you get started. Any prior drug or alcohol concerns, those would be on there. Consent of state of Iowa work comp, your information on your 6-month safety jacket, your 6 months of safety, direct deposit forms like I mentioned, the DOT repayment agreement. So the repayment agreement is basically a recognition of, hey, Decker has invested this much in me, because we usually do either a rental car or a flight, as well as taking care of your hotel and your meals while you come into orientation. Now, if you were to leave within the first 6 months, then you could be responsible for a portion of that. because each month we knock $100 off. Come 6 months, doesn't matter what that cost was, we wash it clean. But it is basically a recognition of, hey, we invested in you. You're recognizing that if you find that we're not a good fit and you left, you could be responsible for a portion of it. We plan on taking good care of you, so that's not an issue. It'll give you, you'll also have details on the refrigerated and van division or the flatbed division, depending on which position you come aboard for. So you'll have detailed descriptions as well. You've probably already seen it in your email. You've probably already discussed it with your recruiter, or you should have. And so you have that information, but this is just cut and dry, company policies, procedures, all of that right there. Much easier, well, maybe not much easier to read, but a lot of material to read. Your emergency contact, your ID, your driver ID, your 8850 forms, work comp forms, your phone usage and download information on the trucks, policy statements, conditional job offer, recognition or acknowledgement that you received your manual. Like I said, you'll get all the refrigerated or van or the flatbed information, like job description stuff, but then you'll also receive the manual in addition to that. COT consent form, your gate key, all of this, your I-9s, your W-2s, your W-4s for your W-2s, your self-certification form, your state tax form, your confidential medical questionnaire, all of that will be taken care of ahead of time in on the online orientation. So like I said, if you have any questions, feel free. I know that's a lot of information that I'm just kind of throwing out at you, but I want to make sure that you're well aware of what all will be in the online orientation so that you're not intimidated by it. But it's a lot of forms. We want to make sure that you know what you're signing. So all that information is there for you. Once you've completed the online orientation, you've done your analysis, and you've completed your physical, then we're getting your transportation set up in the meantime. So while you're working on those things, we're working on your transportation. Normally set that up on Thursdays, but as soon as you know that you're coming, let's work on your transportation for you so we can get it on over to you, get you the rental car from wherever you need it, whether it's, if you're coming from your most current company or you're coming from home, just so that we're arranging that for you. We're taking care of the gas as well as the rental, the hotel, and yes, they are single rooms. We take care of your meals while you're here. All of that is included within the orientation package, basically. And then we go through the orientation in person. Like I said, we do the hair follicle as well as the PCE, range of motion resistance testing. You'll have the driving test. You'll also meet with your driver manager as part of orientation before getting into your truck and getting dispatched out and making a little bit of money. So pay is, for the most part, and there are a few exceptions like local positions, but for the most part, you are guaranteed $1,000 a week, and your pay per mile is based off of your experience level, and of course, the number of miles that you need to run to go beyond that 1,000 is going to be different for someone who's more experienced than from somebody who's less experienced, because obviously your rate of pay is different. If you have questions, just let us know. You get the better of the two. So the more miles you run, obviously the more pay you will make. And that's paid every Friday, direct deposit. You get your paperwork in on Sunday night, you get paid Friday on it, the following Friday. And like I said, direct deposit, and that's one of the forms that you'll fill out prior to orientation to make sure that we've got it. We don't want to delay in getting you paid. We want to make sure that you're getting paid right away. When you are paid for your orientation, you'll actually receive that on a comm check, and then the direct deposit's that following week. So, any questions on that part of orientation? Cool. So that's that part. We take care of transportation back and forth between the hotel and the terminal. We'll cover that. You won't have to worry about it. The trucks, like I said, they have pretty much everything you can imagine in them, so they are very well stocked and ready for you. APUs, refrigerators, microwaves, all TVs, all of that. So that's already included in there, so you don't have to bring all of it with you. Yes, we will route you towards home on one of your first dispatch, not necessarily the first dispatch, depending on where those loads are going at the time. But we'll get you home as soon as possible so that you can get the remainder of your stuff. Let's talk about some of the positions. If you're starting in our flatbed division, you've got the experience, the know-how, and you're looking to get home on a daily or near daily basis, we do have a short haul position that'll do pretty much that. Now, it doesn't necessarily get everybody home on a daily option, but it does get most locations home. So what you're looking at here is our flatbed hiring map. Everything in yellow is within our short haul position. Excuse me. So we can get you home, 3, 4, maybe even 5 days out of the week, depending on that particular run, and then of course home on the weekends. Michael asked, DirecTV included? Yes, it's called Epic View satellite television, and that's pretty much what it is DirecTV. And we've got a globe on the back of the truck, so especially with flatbed, make sure that you don't put anything up there above the headache rack, because that's where that globe or that antenna like thing is sitting. So Sioux Falls, Omaha, Fort Dodge, Des Moines, anywhere from Albert Lea to Des Moines in the along 835 there, all good areas for our home multiple times throughout the week, our short haul position. Now that short haul position, again, it does guarantee at the very minimum $1,000 a week, but the pay on that one is more, is fixed. I want to say it's 54. I'm going to make sure that I'm quoting you right here. Nope, wrong thing. There we go. Helps if I click on it. Yep, 44. So 44 cents a mile for the flatbed. Guaranteed pay goes up, so the more experience that you have, the more pay you get per mile. So, but that's our flatbed, guarantees you $1,000 a week. Great home time. That's a great balance of position, home time, and miles, and all of that. So that's flatbed. Does require a minimum of 9 months of flatbed experience for that position. Any questions on it, make sure that you reach out to us at 888-668-0698. So telephone number right there. Excellent, excellent. All right, I'm trying to see if there's anything else. I'm trying to figure out why I'm not optimal. Okay. Benefits. Blue Cross Blue Shield, it's an 80-20 plan. It starts after 90 days, so the 91st day of employment. We have the 401k that I mentioned. We have the company paid life insurance, paid vacation, which is 1 week after 1 year, 2 after 3, 3 after 4, or 3 after 7, excuse me. So we've got additional options there. Additional cancer, short-term, long-term, all those different insurances available to you if you chose to go that route also. And then, like I said before, we have many incentives, whether it's the weekly bonus, or the monthly bonus, the quarterly bonus, the sign-on bonus. Now, the sign-on bonus is $5,000. Currently, it is a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Pays out within the first year, each quarter, and so that's where I'm getting that quarterly bonus. But the more miles that you run for the quarter, you can get an extra 5 cents a mile for. So if you're in the refrigerated division and you're running 25,000 miles, if you ran over 25,000 miles, all miles over 25,000 get an extra 5 cents a mile. That's part of the accelerated sign-on bonus, the accelerated quarterly sign-on bonus, because it pays out quarterly. If you're in the flatbed division and you run over 20,000 miles for the quarter, then you're going to get an extra 5 cents a mile on all the miles over 20,000. Michael says, is there a match with the 401k? Absolutely. It's a 30% match for the 401k. So say you can put up to 8% of your earnings. So you can put all the way up to 8% of your total earnings each week. We'll match up to 30% of that. absolutely, we have that. And then 6 years is the vested. Okay, any other questions that I missed? I don't think so. I think I gotcha. Yes, we do have a position, a hopper position available right now. It starts at 11 a.m. It's out of Fort Dodge, so you do need to live within about a 25-mile radius of Fort Dodge. It's basically, it's 2 days on and then 2 days off and then 3 days on and 3 days off. So if you live within 25 miles, you're going to run from Fort Dodge to Blair, Nebraska, back to Fort Dodge. You could be running a backhaul on the way back from Blair. You could not be, but it pays per shift. So $225 for the Monday through Friday shifts. Remember, 2 days on, 2 days off, 3 days on, 3 days off. And then you're going to get $250 when you're on the weekend shift. So for Saturday and Sunday, you'll get the $250. Keep in mind, if doing the 2 on and 2 off, and then 3 on and 3 off, that means that every other weekend is a 3-day weekend. So you'll work one weekend, the next weekend's a 3-day weekend for you. So, let's see. Yeah, so that position is available right now. I only have one position for that hopper that's based out of Missoula. Based out of Fort Dodge. I get that right. For the flatbed division, especially in the short haul, we've got a lot of opportunity there. So if you guys are looking for short haul and you're in numerous, depending on where you live, like I said, when I showed off that map, it gives you a lot of opportunity. Now with flatbed, if you're looking for Midwest runs, not necessarily home on a daily basis or multiple times throughout the week, you're looking for a longer length of haul, we have our division based out of Bessemer, Alabama. It's a coast-to-coast position. Runs a lot of Midwest and a lot of Southeast, but it does offer coast-to-coast. With the Midwest divisions, we have, if you live anywhere from Iowa City to Columbus, Ohio, up to Toledo, over to the Chicago area, into Milwaukee, down to Fort Dodge, Mason City, Fort Dodge, back to Iowa City. Basically, everywhere in that vicinity is going to get you home on a weekly basis and guarantee you $14.50 a week. But you do need to be within that area. The only exception to that area that doesn't pay the $14.50 but instead pays the $1,700 a week is if you live within 50 miles of Chicago. So if you live within 50 miles of Chicago and you're wanting to get home on a weekly basis, you've got the flatbed experience, you're wanting to do flatbed, that's the one that you want to sign up for. So $1,700. But remember, your rate of pay per mile and your miles that you run can exceed your guaranteed pay. You're going to get the better of the two. We want to make sure that we get you the better of the two. Cool. We have the guaranteed pay in the refrigerated division. If you live anywhere from Omaha to Chicago on I-80, if you live anywhere from Albert Lea or Minneapolis even, but Albert Lea to Chicago on I-90, we can get you home on a weekly basis and guarantee you $12.50 a week. Most of our positions guarantee of $1,000 a week. That is just your safety net. So it's there, it's that guarantee. That doesn't mean that's probably what you'll be maxing out at. Actually, it's contradicting it because the majority of you will be actually running well over that. $1,300-1,500 would not surprise me. And remember, these amounts that I'm giving you are gross because there's too many scenarios that change the net. If you have questions, maybe we can kind of hone in a little bit better for what your net would be based off of what insurance you chose, how much you're putting into your 401k, miles, etc. So we can take a look at that for you as well. But the $1,000 is the safety net. In order to guarantee you $1,000 a week, at least, you need to be available for dispatch at least 5 days out of the week. No driver service failures, so no late loads that are your fault. If the customer is late in getting you loaded, or if it's something that's out of your hand, that is not a driver service failure in that case. So no load refusals, no driver service failures, be available for dispatch at least 5 days out of the week. No preventable accidents, no CSA violations. And of course, get your paperwork in on time, which you can use the TransFlow app, the GeoTab unit in the truck, or put up on my phone, the TransFlow app on your phone. So you have that option as well. So get that in every week by Sunday at 10 p.m. and get paid on Friday. So yes, that is the information, I guess, for getting your paperwork in and keeping you moving here at Decker. Anybody have any questions on orientation, available job positions, driving positions, truck driver orientation, anything like that here at Decker? If you do, and we haven't hit on it already, please reach out to one of the recruiters at 888-668-0698 so that we can answer your questions, so you're not sitting there wondering and you're not having to wait till orientation to get that answered. We're here, we are available to answer those questions for you right up front. We don't want you to come to orientation still like ahead of time. We want to be able to answer those questions. So I know oftentimes you expect to get all of the details in orientation, and yes, you will, but you should be well informed and pretty much know the answer before you even come to orientation. This is just like our double check to make sure you've got it all handled. As a recruiter, we want to make sure that you are well aware of what your running lanes are, what type of miles that you'll be running, what type of equipment you'll be seeing, the benefits that you're receiving, all of the additional incentives that you have, expectations on your part, we need to know those, and expectations we have for you, we need to make sure that you know. So again, if you have any questions, spend some time talking with one of our recruiters at 888-668-0698 so that we can get you all of the details. Cool? All right. Well, we will be back here next Tuesday at noon Central here on our YouTube channel. So please join us then. Make sure you click the subscribe button and the bell, because then it'll notify you when we go live and as we've got new videos coming out. And then follow us on our Facebook channel. Our Facebook page, we've got facebook.com/DTLinc. We go live there with a Q&A every Monday at 4 p.m. Central. And then we have a few surprise lives every now and then. So you guys, thank you so much for taking the time with me. Anna, am I missing anything? Any other questions that you guys might have that I haven't covered? We do have several different options, whether it be van, dry van, refrigerated, flatbed, and then of course I said the hopper position that's based out of Fort Dodge. So great opportunities, awesome team of support team here for you, but I think we're all good. Hey Scott, hope all is well. So Scott from the Idaho area, Nevada, and Western Montana, running out of the Western Montana division. Anna says, again, thank you for joining us. Have a lovely week and stay safe. Yes, indeed, you guys. Thank you so much. We will we'll talk to you next Tuesday here on our Q&A, next Monday on our Facebook. So be safe, you guys. Take care.